All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming out. Well, I guess you didn't really come out tonight, but you logged in tonight to our college and career ready night, and you're now in the engineering pathway section. So my name is Keith Beloff, and I am the CTE division head at Buffalo Grove High School, and I'll be acting as your moderator slash question asker and question answerer. Speaking of asking questions, you guys are all muted except for our panelists. So if you have a question at any time, just drop your question in the chat, and then we will get to your question either where it fits in or at the end of the time when we have a little bit more time. All right. If you want to move on to the next slide there, Kelly, that'd be great.
Okay.
So, as I said before, I'm Keith Beloff, and then we have our panelists here. We're actually waiting on one, but our first panelist would be Iris Alvarado Santiago, who is a project manager at Honeywell. And let's give a shout out to UOP as well. And then we have Mr. Rich Hyde, who is a engineering teacher at Hersey High School, and then Kushi Patel, who is a student currently at Buffalo Grove High School, but she's involved in the engineering pathways program as well as involved with an internship. So she'll get a chance to talk to you about that tonight as well. All right, next slide would be great. All right, so this is our engineering pathways slide, and I'll show you how to find that this slide as soon as when we go to our next slide. So start find this screen. But the red section kind of outlines our engineering courses. And then the gray section down below talks about the courses that a typical student in an engineering pathways course would be taking. And I see that we have Katan. He has joined. So Kelly, if you could get
Absolutely.
him, that'd be great. Kelly's our IT genius, so she's going to
Don't sell me. Yeah.
just so Rich, as an engineering teacher, could you just walk our audience through the engineering courses that we have available?
Absolutely. So again, welcome. My name is Rich Hyde. I teach engineering at Hersey High School. I've been in district for 20 years now, 19 of them teaching this very robust engineering pathway. As Keith mentioned, that red bar across the top of the list here, right under where it says 9, 10, 11, 12, those are the classes that we offer in this pathway. So we have every student start out in the engineering essentials class, and that class is really setting your students up for success, or you as students up for success later on down the road in the pathway. So engineering essentials does not have to be started during freshman year, that ninth grade year. I have students that are all over the board, some students that are freshmen, some that are seniors, and everywhere in between. But that engineering essentials class is a great class. Again, building the foundations for those subsequent classes. So a couple of the topics that we really talk about strongly in that course are career exploration. So we give the students an opportunity to see a multitude of different engineering fields. You know, it's not just industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and civil engineering, the big three. There's several other types of engineering that are out there, for example, ocean engineering and things of that nature. Then we move into more of a design aspect in the course. We really believe that's a very pivotal aspect of engineering, is being able to design. So we give students problems which they solve throughout, the course of a project. We also use computer-aided design, or CAD, to be able to design things. And then the ultimate goal with that is to be able to manufacture things, either using a 3D printer, or all of our schools are equipped with computer numeric controlled industry level machines, so that our students are able to create those projects in the real world. Then we get into, simple and complex machines like levers and pulleys and gear systems. We also dabble a little bit into electronics. And then right toward the end of the year, we get into civil engineering, where we are talking about urban design and planning. And we even go into global information systems map making. being able to pull out different demographic data of people that are located in a general region. So again, really setting us up for that next level, which you see listed under 10 and 11 there. So our next level classes, we can explore civil engineering and architecture, where we start out with residential design, designing a house. We start at the foundation and then we go all the way up to the roof. And then we get into landscaping a little bit. Then after we design a house, residential design, we start talking about commercial design, and we really get into structural design as well. So most of our students are able to walk out and be able to determine if a beam that is above their head is going to be able to withstand the weight of the roof on top of it. So again, very good topics that are covered there, setting you up for success in maybe a future with civil engineering or architecture. Computer integrated manufacturing, says it right there in the name. We're going to be making stuff. Again, using that computer controlled equipment, we're making a multitude of projects. And again, what's really cool about that is you are learning those skills about how to manufacture things. So it's one thing to be able to design something, but it's another thing to be able to design something for manufacturability. So we teach the students how to run those machines, as well as design for those machines specifically, talk about the limitations and then the capabilities of those machines. Last thing under 10 and 11 there, we see our digital electronics class, kind of, again, described right in the name. We're building electronic circuits, trying to determine, how things like our phones, our iPads, the computers that we're sitting on right now are going to be working. So all of those components that are inside, how do we connect them together to make them do what we want them to do? But the really fun course is that capstone course, your senior year. You can see it there, Principles of Engineering. It's a wonderful course that, really prepares our students for moving on to that college level in engineering, because a lot of the engineering courses in college are going to be very physics based. So we are teaching physics, but with hands-on components. We're talking about being able to launch a marble across a room with a catapult, being able to build a gear train system to make a car be able to go up a hill, things of that nature. Again, really building in the physics. Now, one class that's not listed here that is also kind of considered in the engineering pathway is our aerospace engineering course, where we learn physics of flight. So how does a big aircraft that's taken off from O'Hare Airport get up in the air and stay up in the air? Then we talk about the design of that aircraft. We even go into a little bit of flight. So we teach kids how to pilot an aircraft through simulation like Microsoft Flight Sim. And then we round the year out with our space exploration, building rockets, launching model rockets that are designed by the students, using our engineering concepts that we teach them throughout the course, as well as living in space. So once we get there, how do we make sure anybody that's up there is going to be able to survive that harsh environment? So really, again, very robust pathway, a lot of offerings, a lot of exploration that you can take to, again, figure out which path you might want to walk down. One thing that I love to say at Hersey is, find your passion. Does that passion lie? Is it in electronics? Is it in architecture? Is it in manufacturing? And you have the ability to explore all of those if you start early, for sure. But again, it's got to prepare you for that next level.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And a lot of those courses also have the potential to earn some sort of college credit as well. So, there's just so many advantages of jumping into these courses and taking as many as you can. Kelly, could you go to the next slide for us? There we go. And so if you have more questions or want to just look into this more in-depthly, you just jump onto the District 214 website and then click on the Academics tab, and then follow that by the Academic Program and Pathways Guidebook. And you can look at all of the coursework that's involved. Or I think, if you're looking at that and hey, you have further questions, I say just reach out to the division head of the school that you or your child will be attending, and they'd be happy to answer any of your questions. All right, Kelly, I think we're ready to jump just into us. You can click off the screen. There we go. Then we become a little bit bigger. And we have Ketan Patel. He's made it in. And So we're going to just take a few minutes to introduce our panel, or have our panelists introduce themselves. So we'll start with you, Katan. Can you just give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself, who you are, what your role is, and what organization are you affiliated with? We'll start off with that.
Sure. My name is Ketan Patel. I'm the managing director for KPMG Architects Engineer. I own the firm, and I'm affiliated with architectural and engineering.
Awesome. All right. And then Iris, could you introduce yourself as well?
Hello, everyone. My name is Iris Alvarado Santiago. My current role is I am a project manager at UOP, which is part of Honeywell. We are into the oil refining industry. So think about gasoline, petroleum refining, kerosene, plastic to make the products that we use every single day. But as part of Honeywell, think about all these fantastic classes like aerospace engineering, right? We're thinking now about building self-driving helicopters and taxis. So I am just part of this bigger global company.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And then can the two of you also then talk a little bit, maybe tell us your how did you get into your engineering or architecture field? Like what schools did you go to, and like how was that curiosity sparked, or that, what originally drove you into your role?
Okay, I can start with that. So I am originally from Puerto Rico. So when I was going to go to college, I actually needed to know what I was going to go for. So out of the get-go, I wanted to be a chemical engineer. What prompted me to do that was I had the only tour I ever did in high school. They took me to the main engineering university, Universidad de Puerto Rico, Mayagüez campus. And from all the engineerings, the only one that catch my attention was chemical engineering, because they were doing testing with monkeys for to help patients with diabetes. And my grandfather had diabetes, and I wanted to find a cure. The only thing that wasn't clear to me, or that I didn't ask, was what I needed to do in order to get there, which is I needed to get a master or a PhD degree. But regardless, I went into chemical engineering. After the second year, I came to NC State, North Carolina State University, as an student exchange student. I liked it, and I transferred there, and I ended up graduating in December of 2001. So that is how I got there. I only have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a master, and I only have one degree, which up to this day, I am upset about it. I did not have a good mentor. So I could have actually been graduated at the time in biochemistry. So this is where mentors and mentees really come really important in your life, and that you are also asking questions. Like if you don't understand something, just ask. So in my case, I could have graduated with a minor, didn't happen. So as I mentioned, I am doing project management. I am actually a chemical engineer, and then throughout my career, I became a project manager. I have been in different companies. I have been at Labs, Ineo, Silica. I have been in engineering contracting firms, and now at EOP, Honeywell. And every single role I had in the past prepared me to be where I am right now.
Yes. Could you explain just a little bit what is a project manager? I mean, obviously you manage projects, right? But what does that look like in a little bit more of a day-to-day life?
Simplify. I tell people what to do, and sometimes even how to do it. No, basically that is the kind of like the short, kind of fun way. But basically, we sell engineering packages to our customers. Think about Exxon, Total. Think about Shell, right? Citgo, right here in Illinois, right? By close to where I live, actually. So we sell them the engineering packages. So we typically have a schedule 26 weeks. So I have customer meetings. I manage the schedule. I manage a team of engineers, drafters, skill specialists. So we have a specialist for rotating equipment, such as pumps, compressors. I have a specialist for reactors. Think about how they build the reactors, how they're going to construct it, what thickness of that body is going to be required based on the pressure. I have metallurgists, that work with me, right? The metallurgy, is carbon still good for this? Is it stainless steel? Can we use plastic, right? I have control engineers think about thermometers, pressure gauges, right? So I have to combine all of that together and ensure that we're meeting critical checkpoints to ensure that we can meet the deadline and deliver the project to the customer when it's due. And then I have to do a lot of other stuff that are not fun that I am not going to talk about it. But there is a lot of administration and metrics and run reports, financials, which is not the fun part of the job.
Sure. Every job's got the fun parts and then the not so fun parts, right? That's what, as my dad would say, that's why they call it work, right? If it was all fun, they would just call it fun. So anyhow, thanks so much, Iris. Ketan, could you tell us a little bit about your background and then how you got involved in your current role?
Yeah, so I actually went to Elko High School in 2002 to 2005, I believe. And I did my civil engineering at Illinois, University of Illinois, Chicago. And then I did my master's in structural engineering at Illinois Institute of Technology. I worked for Black & Veatch, who does similar things that Iris does. I worked at a lot of the heavy industries. So I designed a lot of the heavy structures, such as pumps, pipe racks, getting all the fluids to one point that will support all the structures, the foundation. So I worked as a structural engineer for like 10 years. And then one day I woke up and I decided to quit my job and open my own firm. So it was tough, tough decision, but that's what I wanted to do for a while. So I started doing as a structural engineering in 2017. And then as a business grew, we added an architect in our firm. And as of today, we have 35 people and we have an overseas office in India as well. So tough roads. I don't want to get detail into all that, but if you keep your focus and if you have a desire to do whatever you want to do, I think it works. So, but how do I get into the field? I have no idea, to be honest with you, from an engineering standpoint. I didn't have this program where you guys where you have this engineering pathway that teach you physics, engineering. The only class I took was physics, and I like physics. And ever since 11th grade, we built that bridge, and from that day, I just wanted to be a civil engineer. And I chose from that day, and still I still do some engineering these days, but most of my responsibility these days is managing most of the people, handle projects, get projects for the firm, handle finances, and make sure people pay on time. So.
All right, thanks so much. And then we have our final panelist is Kushi Patel, and she is you're a junior, correct, at Buffalo Grove? And
Yes.
can you just tell us a little bit about the courses that you've taken, and then you're now jumping into an internship, or will soon be. Can you tell us a little bit of like what got you excited, or what made you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I've taken intro to engineering and then computer integrated manufacturing. And intro to engineering kind of showed me like a lot of different types of engineering like pathways that I could have gone to, which is why I took computer integrated manufacturing. And now I'm currently taking an AP computer science class. And I think the computer integrated manufacturing class kind of pushed me to do more internships and get more involved. And so I had an internship over the summer at a company called CS2 Design, where I worked mostly on CAD and did like blueprints and all of that. And then now I have an opportunity to go to Honeywell and have an internship there, which is chemical engineering. So I'm excited. Well, yeah.
And the course that course you're talking about, intro to engineering, we've replaced with engineering essentials that Mr. Hyde talked about as he was explaining all the pathways. We did have one question already pop up in the chat, and that is, and I'll throw this one over to you, Mr. Hyde. Can a student take engineering essentials as a sophomore, which we already have talked about? Yes, we can do that, but then jump from there to senior year taking principles of engineering.
Absolutely. As long as you take that engineering essentials course, that really opens a door for you to be able to take any one of those other classes that are offered in the pathway. Uh, Pretty much at any time, if it's junior year, if it's senior year, that's fine. I've had some students, for example, I've got a student right now in my civil engineering class that took introduction to engineering, similar to Kushi, back during freshman year, and then decided that he wanted to explore civil engineering now during his senior year. So yes.
Yeah, that engineering essentials class is it's just a great survey class that gives you a taste of all the engineerings, and then you can branch off into any of them that you like. So again, feel free to throw questions in there, and we have got a few more questions for our panelists, but then we'll definitely answer questions as they come up. So Iris, could you tell us a little bit about like, I guess what does a typical day look like for you? And if there is no such thing as a typical day, right?
There's not such a thing. I wake up with a plan, and especially Mondays and Fridays, within the first half an hour, the plan is out of the window. But I typically, so I manage projects, as I mentioned before. I have customers on almost every single continent. I have customers in South America. I have 3 or 4 customers in Asia. I have customers in Europe, and I have my only customer in the US. So they're all different time zones. So what I try to do in the morning is to go to my email first to make sure if something critical came up. And then after that, then my chat starts to go like, I need help with this, or when are we going to do this, right? And then chasing people around. We owe this to the customer. When I needed to be sent today, can you provide this to me? Some days I am in meetings from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And those days are really draining because I pay a lot of attention to detail. I keep a lot of notes. And every single time after those meetings, I have to send meeting notes out. Right now, I have like my last meeting was last week, and I have maybe 5 or 6 meeting notes I need to send out. I haven't been able to because I have been really busy, but at least those are internal. So that's a good thing. Some days I have to deal with personal issues. I am not a manager, but I have like kind of like a good reputation at the company, so the engineers feel comfortable with me, and they come to me a lot to help them with personal things, emotional things, issues at work. How do I talk to this person? He's not being or she's not being receptive to what I need. So it just depends on the day. I have learned that to juggle multiple hats at the same time. But then one of the things that I have learned in the last few years was to, instead of juggling all that at the same time, to kind of like pay attention to the moment, right? Especially if I have an engineer talking to me. So instead of the engineer and I'm multitasking, I am sharing more my screen. This is your time, talk to me, and things like that. I work from home most of the time. I am supposed to be in the office 3 days a week. I have been pushing the limit on that. So I have been working 2 days in the office, the rest from home. But again, like today, I will probably be up until midnight because I have all these customers, and I have a new customer from Asia that he thinks he's the number 1 customer. He doesn't know that I have another 7 customers that are also my number 1 customer.
He's the number 1 customer in his mind, right? So,
Yes, correct.
Ketan, how about you? What does a typical day look like for you?
For me, when I started my company, I used to wake up at 5 in the morning. I was a one-man show, so I would do a lot of engineering, meet with the client, come home and do some calculations, then do some drawings, and then talk to the clients again. So when I started my company by myself in 2017, I used to work almost 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was just by myself, so I couldn't delegate anymore. Over a period of time, now I'll wake up, I'll probably get to the office by 9 o'clock. Then I'll talk to my engineers and see if there are any issues, or what deadlines they have, what they're working on. If they have any questions, then I'll go talk to my architectural team. Any issues, if they have anything, if they need anything urgent from me or from any of the clients, or then I'll probably go talk to my accounting team if there's anything that needs to be sent out from an invoice standpoint. And then on most of the day, I'm 60% of the time I'm on the call, talking to the client or future clients. I travel a lot. We have an office in India, so I'm in India every other month. So I go there and mentor people, motivate them, see how the culture is. The culture in India and the US is completely different, so it takes a lot of energy to motivate people to take pride in their work. A lot of time we get a lot of people who doesn't have like I don't care attitude. Somebody's gonna check my work. So we try to give them a career path. So we have worked out a career path for everybody, so make sure they follow that path. Mostly it's very random. Today I have a meeting at 10:30, so I will probably go to sleep till 2 in the morning. Sometimes I go to sleep at 10. So it all varies throughout as the time goes on.
All right, thanks so much. All right, so we have a couple questions from the audience. One is are the engineering classes dual credit? So Rich, I know we have a couple dual credit classes. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So we have two offerings that do offer dual credit. So the digital electronics class offers dual credit through Harper College. And that is going to be strictly based upon your performance in the class with the class assignments and projects throughout the entire year. So if you earn an A in the class, you will receive an A on your transcript for dual credit through Harper College. The other engineering course that offers dual credit is aerospace engineering. That is going to be through Lewis University, and what they typically do are create assignments through the university themselves that they hand out to the kids. The kids finish the assignments and projects and then submit those, and then the Lewis University professors will give a grade based upon, again, the performance on the work there.
All right. Another couple questions, and I know we've answered this one, but I'll just answer it again. Is Project Lead the Way available to freshmen? And it sure is, right? So there's the engineering essentials class that freshmen can take. And then can students take two pathways, right? Can they go into like an engineering pathway and the aviation pathway? And
oh yeah, absolutely. It really depends on, the other classes that you need to fit in your schedule. For example, foreign language, or if you're involved in the arts through music or something along those lines, it might shut the window a little bit on you being able to take more than one pathway. But yeah, I've got students that are, taking engineering classes and also taking business classes as well at the same time, for example.
yeah, I mean, the only limit that we have is just the number of periods in the day, and the graduation requirements, right? And I think, I've been doing this for a while. This is, closing in on 30 years in education. And, the more opportunities that you can give yourself, the better off you're going to be, right? The more well-rounded you're going to be, the more chances you're going to have to find out what things you don't like, right? Because high school is a chance to be able to get in and figure out the things you like and the things that you don't like. And it's a lot cheaper to figure out what you don't like in high school than in college when you're paying a lot of money for the courses. Kushi, you talked a little bit about your first engineering internship. What did you learn by being in there of like, hey, I like this? And then what kind of things did you learn of like, I'm not sure if I want to move into something like that?
Yeah, I like the internship was mostly like working on CAD, and like I learned how to work on CAD. Like I never worked on it or used it prior to the internship, which was kind of nice, like learning something new from that. I learned like the internship was mostly like me sitting at a desk and just on my laptop all day, which was kind of tiring. But besides that, like I think the internship was really nice, just like figuring out like how to use CAD and like what kind of civil engineering was all about. Because people kind of think it's like more hands-on, but it can also be working on a computer all day.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. And as we've heard from our other two panelists, right, there's plenty of computer time, but there's also plenty of other duties, right? Whether it's running a business or counseling employees that are having a rough day. Um, right, Harris? I mean, it's all in there. Um, the question was about there was a question about summer school, if there are summer school classes for incoming freshmen related to engineering. And there aren't necessarily classes just specifically for engineering for incoming freshmen, but they can take some of the classes, the kind of required classes that you need to take and get those out of the way, which might open up some more space for engineering classes throughout your 4 years of high school. We also offer experiences, which aren't necessarily classes. So teachers will apply to teach different experiences, and those aren't solidified until later in the spring. But a lot of them actually have to do with different engineering or manufacturing type of skills. So be on the lookout for that course offering book. All right, while I'm putting together some of these questions, Rich, what kind of advice would you give to a student that's interested in exploring our engineering courses?
Yeah. So if you're a current student, the best thing to do is certainly have a conversation with your engineering teachers. Yeah, my door is always open. I love talking engineering, talking the pathway of engineering to students that I don't currently have. I try to welcome everybody. And like I said before, and like Keith echoed, just a moment ago, we're really trying to find your pathway in life, try to find your passion. So I would start there. And then certainly once you have figured out that engineering is the right path for you, then you can start reaching out to your counselor. Just go down, have a conversation, say, hey, counselor, I'm really interested in taking this engineering path. What are the next steps involved in getting me signed up in those classes? Now, it's going to be a little bit tougher for those of you that aren't at a high school yet. But certainly reach out to the engineering teachers through email. I know I've fielded several emails from incoming freshman parents and students in past years. And I'll give you all the information that you can possibly handle, as well as, inviting you to come in and see some of the projects. So for example, all 6 of our comprehensive high schools build fighting robots, similar to BattleBots every year. So, I try to invite those kids that are younger, 7th, 8th grade, to come and see our robots being built after school. And again, the door is always open. We'd love to have you. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, there are tons and tons of opportunities. We've got a couple questions in here about, what if you don't know how to do something? When somebody asks, what if you can't code, or what if you don't know how to create a project? And one thing that I know about all of the District 214 teachers, especially the engineering teachers, is they're going to help you figure it out. Right. They might not even know, depending on what the specific project is that you're working on, exactly how to do it. But one of the best skills that you're going to learn in all of the engineering courses is your problem solving skills, right? Which then again, our two panelists that are in the field, that's what they do, right? They solve problems. A problem comes at them, they probably don't know exactly how to figure it out, or not how to solve it just by looking at it at first. But the more you you just work at it until you figure it out. And that's, like I said, someone asked about what if you can't code? Well, you'll figure out as you go, right? Your teacher will teach you what you need to do in order to code what needs to happen. And then I guess in the CNC, right, there's some coding that goes on, but we give you the building blocks in engineering essentials, and then we ramp it up, but appropriately. Kushi, there's a question in here about some of the projects that you work on. What kind of projects did you work on, and what was maybe some of your favorite ones that you did in the engineering courses?
We would build like designs, like we did a lot of 3D printing stuff in Intro to Engineering, and then in computer integrated manufacturing, we worked a lot with the robots where we kind of coded them to pick up blocks and move them to other places and like draw out stuff. And it was a lot of just coding and like hands-on stuff with the robots.
By the robots, she means we have these big robotic arms that can articulate and move around all over, and they have some pinchers. And so students work on how to make them work, right? So as far as that coding, Cushy, did you have any background in coding before going into these classes?
No, I knew nothing about coding before those. Yeah.
And then you just figured it out little by little, right?
Yeah.
Rich, what are some of the other projects that we do in our classes?
Yeah, so all of us are going to explore manufacturing no matter what high school you are going to be attending. But some of the other projects, for example, were in the electronics class. We're building small circuits. For example, we have a printed circuit board where we attach a bunch of components by soldering. So that's another skill that you can learn, very valuable skill moving forward throughout life. But we solder these components together, and that circuit, when you push a button, it'll mimic or simulate rolling a die for like a home board game or something along those lines. So that's just one example. In aerospace, my students right now are finishing up making wing sections. They designed their own wings, and now they're going to put them in action. A little bit later on, we're going to be making propellers and seeing how much thrust the propellers that they are going to design and 3D print, how much thrust, again, they can make. For civil engineering, I have my students working hands-on. We build a small mock-up of a residential style home, again, from the foundation all the way up to the roof, building walls, doors, windows, everything in between. And then for the engineering essentials class, we really touch on projects that involve all of it. We start with that computer-aided design, designing stuff, and then manufacturing that stuff on our CNC computer-controlled equipment. And then we get into, like I said, simple machines, building some gear trains with some robotics components and things like that. And then exploring electronics, we build with programmable logic devices, so we can program very basic code on the computer, download it into our electronic device, and it'll do something for us, like make a smile out of some LEDs that are placed on a board. And then, like I said, we got an urban development project as well. So a lot of hands-on projects. That's our goal, is to get you out of the seat, away from a computer, and working with your hands, seeing how everything functions in the real world.
Yeah, the engineering classes are some of my favorite to stop into because students are always doing something, right? They're always building or messing around with something, and they're like Rich just said, they're always doing something. So with engineering, there's so many. It's such a broad spectrum, right, of different types of engineering. Iris, can you talk a little bit about like what can students, or how can you recommend students maybe narrowing down specialties, right?
Well, I think that the program that you offer, I think that is just great. It's just you are bypassing that first year of college. Actually, you are going to be exposed to the different engineering classes, right? So you are basically having a head start in comparison to other students. Like as I mentioned, when I started in Puerto Rico, I needed to know where specifically I was going to, because out of the get-go, the chemistry classes were targeted to chemical engineering, while the other chemistry classes were targeted to the mechanical, electrical, industrial engineers. So in order to narrow it down, so chemical engineering is kind of like very broad, right? Most of the people at EOP were all mostly chemical engineers, but some of them have gone into business. So they have gotten their bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and then they have gotten their MBA, which is the Master in Business Administration. Some of our other employees, they have PhDs, so they work in the lab. They have like quantitative analysis, think about chemistry in a really big depth in things like that. Some of my process engineers only have, some of them are mostly bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, while others are starting to pursue master and PhD. So that's how they have narrowed down actually after they have obtained their bachelor's degree. So I will, if you want to really narrow it down before you start in college, I think that this program, it will be the right one for you, because you are going to be exploring every single little thing. The other thing I wanted to mention, because Kitan has its own company in the state of Illinois, in order for you to have your company, you have to be a professional engineer. So you have to pass a very difficult test. There is also another license, the engineering training. That's the only one I have. That one, after you graduate from college, you can take it anytime. I truly recommend that if you are going that route, you take that exam either during your senior year or right after, because they're going to be talking about a lot of concepts that after you go to the first job, you're going to forget about it. That license doesn't expire. The professional engineer, and Keaton can talk more about it, you have to have, you pass, it's a very strenuous exam. I believe it's 2 days. You pass it, and then after that, you have to renew the license every so many years. You have to take additional courses. So it looks exciting, but make sure that you know that it's going to require you to continue pursuing higher education, either by conferences or seminars, or even you teaching those to others.
Yeah, Katana, did you want to speak a little bit to the
Yeah,
about that?
I could speak about a few points. I mean, one of the points I want to pick on is how can you choose which field you want to go to. College of design, we have a 4-year program from an engineering standpoint. The first year and a half, it's like a general courses that you take. You take chemistry, you take physics, you take some of the engineering courses which are almost can be used in all engineering. So after you get to college, you have some time to decide which kind of field you want to go to. So the big 5 engineering or 6 engineering, you got civil, you got computer engineer, you got electrical engineering, mechanical, right, and chemical engineering, and so you have time to decide what you want to do. But as the time gets to this is what I've been through. As time goes on, every semester you take, your decision gets the more of the classes that you're taking and the choice that you're going to be making, it gets narrower and narrower and narrower, because then you guys start taking the more of the specialized courses. So you have time. I mean, there's no pressure, but my suggestion is that by the first year, end of the first year, you should know what you want to be in. You should get an idea which direction you want to go to, right? Jumping engineering from second year and then third year from on, it just keeps on adding to your years afterwards, and time is money, right? Every college is not expensive. College is expensive these days. The tuition has doubled when I graduated, so it costs money and you're losing salary. So that's my suggestion from what I tell all my interns and people that come work for me, right? And as far as the license goes, yes. So when you graduate, you do want to take so especially for civil engineering, we deal with a lot of municipality and townships and county and state, right? So we do require a license, and you do want to get that ASAP. The engineering and training, you want to take it right away when you graduate. If you wait too long, you will start forgetting things, and the chances of failure rate increases as you wait more and more, because they test you based on your fundamental knowledge of engineering. So it's not just chemical engineering, it's not just civil. They test you on thermodynamics, they test you on electricity, civil engineering, geotechnical engineering. So they ask you very basic question, but it takes time to study, right? So you want to get that out of your way ASAP. And then the other one is a professional engineering exam. Most state does let you take it without the experience level. You do need 4 years of experience before they give you the license, but you can take the exam right away. It's mostly based on your experience level, right? So you want to take my recommendation within that 4 years, you want to take it and get licensed. So a good thing about it is I passed my exam in one state, then I can apply to other states. And not take the exam. Sometimes I just have to take the ethics exam. So right now I'm licensed in 35 states, right? So, but I do have to maintain the continuing education. I have to keep up with the updated technology, the codes. So For us, the code changes every 3 years, so we have to review the codes every 3 years, and the wind speed changes, the earthquake seismic requirements changes because the global warming, right? The hurricane pattern that we have, the tornado that we have to go through. So we have to keep up with those continuous up to date on code because the miles per hour wind changes. So we have to design the structure to make sure they're safe for the public, right? So, and at the end of the day, our goal is public safety from a structural engineering standpoint or civil engineering standpoint. Whenever you take your ethics exam, whenever you do something, you have to design it for safe for public. So that's a little bit of the engineering from what I have been through.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I think, there's a lot that's been discussed here in these 45 minutes. And, one thing that I remember from what Edie said or Era said at the beginning is, find a good mentor, right? So, we're talking about things that are going to be happening in about, anywhere between 4 and 8 years from now, right? As you're getting into college. But if you find that mentor in high school, someone that can help you, figure out your passion, that would be either your counselor or, a teacher that you, that you trust, that you enjoy being with. That's going to help you out a ton. Take advantage of as many opportunities as you can. We had a question about which is better, AP or dual credit. They're both great, but they both serve kind of different purposes, right? AP, you get credit by the exam, so all your credit is determined by your exam that happens at the end of the semester or year. And then dual credit is credit by the course work, so your whole bulk of work. And then those courses, even though they are from a certain university, they will transfer, right? So you can, just like if you start at one university and then you transfer to another university, those credits that you get at the one will transfer over. They might not transfer exactly how they will, but they'll transfer over in some way. And there's a great website called Transferology that you can go to and actually plug them in and see exactly how they're going to go. We're about out of time, but I wanted to give one last chance to Kushi, since you are here as a student. What advice would you give to high school students that are just coming in that are interested in engineering?
I would say just explore all the different types of engineering pathways, like even if you're stuck on one, because when I was entering high school, I was kind of stuck on the computer science, IT field, but then I took intro to engineering, and that's where I kind of explored all of the different types. So I say just take multiple different types of classes, not just one, and explore the different opportunities you get.
All right. Thanks so much. And thank you all to our panelists that have joined us tonight. Thanks for giving up part of your evening. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, just reach out to the division head at your home school and they'd be happy to answer your questions. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.